I ended up doing my whole sentence. You know what I'm saying? They gave me 10 years and then got in some shit and caught some more time. But
So yeah, let's bring that up. Okay, so you said you do hold on to the hope. You do know you're going home. However, you do get fully enthralled in the prison life. What it seems like to me. So if you're
go ahead.
right, if you're, I could be wrong, but if you're selling drugs in prison, right? Or you're carrying weapons in prison.
You
How you have that hope, but yet you're still jeopardizing it. So much so
because you always think you smarter than the police.
because you're still young.
Just say for the unit, right?
Yeah.
In a unit, you might have 200 inmates in this unit, but it's got one CO watching the whole unit. People feel like
So
I can
you
trick
felt like
him.
that. You felt
I can
like
trick
that.
him, yeah. But of course, you get caught doing shit, or you get in trouble, or a situation might occur where you got to get on, you got to whoop somebody.
Yeah, well, you got to do what you got to do.
You got to do what you got to do. So you do it because it's only a matter of time before when you don't do it. Now the eyes are on you. You know what I'm saying? You're in jail. You don't want the eyes on you.
I have another question. So I've always thought it was fascinating that when people get caught for a crime, I was in prison as well, and it's like the dudes who are selling drugs on the streets, a lot of them will sell drugs in prison. The dudes who are shooters on the streets, a lot of them are the ones carrying the biggest knives in prison. Like, the lesson isn't learned,
Right.
you know, and it's almost like it's perpetuated. It's you could venture to say it's possibly made worse if someone isn't just like, okay, I'm going to do what I got to do to survive, do my time, get out of here. Some people is just like that it's just in him. Like, hey, and to me, I don't understand it. Like, I don't understand you came to jail for selling drugs. You have a date, but you're selling drugs in here. Like, to me, I wouldn't understand that. You know, and I get that you go with the flow and survive, and everyone has to do that when it comes to the violence part of it. But not everyone has to sell drugs in there. That is more of a voluntary thing.
Yeah, I guess you right to a degree, but it's all about your mentality. Like, okay, cool. They feed you 3 times a day in there. They give you soap. I bet you never used prison soap one time. I bet you bought it at commissary.
Me?
I mean, you might have used it. You might have used
I
it.
used it a couple times. It's
but
not the best.
You're right.
But
When you had the opportunity to buy the better shit, you bought it, right?
yeah, but my sister sent me money when I was in prison. So I was like, you know, so that is a different dynamic with me. So I'd have $50 every time I'd go to canteen, and I'd get packages. So, you know, there's some dudes who don't have that.
There's some dudes that don't have that.
And they do, you know, and that's at that point that is much more understandable, right? But you know, it's like when is the lesson learned though? When is the core lesson learned of looking in the mirror and being like, you know what, the way I'm doing things is completely fucked up and I need to figure out a different way of doing things. When does that happen?
For me or in
Just
general?
for you and then in general.
Okay, for me, it happened. I had been in prison about 12 years, seen everything that went on in prison, tired of it, ready to go home. You know what I'm saying? And at that point, you start thinking, well, I start thinking, like, okay, I don't like jail. The shit ain't fun no more. You know what I'm saying? The shit is whack. They taking more shit from us every day. I don't want to come back. So I need to start putting
The light switch.
something. Yeah, I got to start putting something else in my mind. As if I always knew I was going to go home, you know what I'm saying? Or not, but I had the hope of I'm going home, you know what I'm saying? But what I was gonna do when I got home wasn't I said it before. My plans and ideas for my freedom at that point wasn't the best. I don't know if I was mad at the world or what, but I still didn't give a fuck. You know what I mean? So my plans and ideas wasn't the best at the time. But I came to the realization that they got a bed for you. You know what I'm saying? You see somebody 45, 50, 60 years old catch a fresh 20, 30 years. That can very easily be me. You know what I'm saying? If I decide to be stupid, continue to be stupid, or do some shit and I know better, you know what I'm saying? That could very easily be me, be my story. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I got 20 years.
Yeah, you just had a moment.
Yeah.
I think that happens.
Yeah,
That
you know
happens
what I
for a
mean?
lot. I think when you start doing your time, 10 years, and you ended up getting 20 years because you end up getting in a physical altercation with correctional officers, right?
Right.
In a fight with correctional officers. And they're going to always ding you over the head with that, you know. But I think when you first get in, 10 years, that seems so far away. I might as, like, fuck it. There is a, like, what are you going to give me, 5 more years, or you're going to max out, or what are you going to do, max me out
You
at
know
the
what?
at the 100%?
What? Let me see. I never thought of, the plan wasn't to whoop the police. You know what I mean? So the way you saying it,
Correct,
the way
correct,
you describe
correct.
it, that wasn't like, nah, you
It
don't,
just happened that way.
it just happened that way.
But it was okay. Let's go into that story briefly. I can summarize it. I heard it on the other podcast. So what ends up happening? You have drugs in the cell. Am I correct? The cops come and do a random search,
They come, they smell, we were smoking, they smell some weed.
and it was
come.
just weed. We're just talking about weed here.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
and
weed and a phone.
weed and a phone, which is status quo in jail. Like
Right.
everyone, you know
So-
what I mean?
So they come, they smell it. They coming to warn us about the warden coming through, because every week the warden and all the executive staff come through and they inspect the units
Yeah.
around and, see what needs to be fixed, or this cell is dirty, tell them to clean, whatever.
Yeah.
The executive staff, they come and do their thing. So he's telling us, the COs in the unit is telling the unit, going to every door like, hey, and our stupid ass wasn't even on point. But anyway, he come to our cell and tell us the warden's coming, but we just smoked. You know what I'm saying? So he get a whiff. He closed the door and called us back up, like, hey, whatever you say. Long story short, it turned into a melee. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, you end up getting in a fight with the correction officers
Yeah.
who were there to search you. How did that? I think when you do that, you know you're going to court, or did you not know that?
okay, it's like at the time, maybe I hoped I didn't go to court, but it's just, this is what I'm presenting. Back to that original. This is what's in
What
front.
triggered that? What did they do that triggered that? That triggered, like, fuck it. I know some guys in there who just hate cops.
They ended up snatching up one of my partners.
Yeah.
And he tried to get away, and then it
And then
turned
it just
into-
went from there.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And we see it. We was all right there, you know what I'm saying? And
It's a domino effect.
yeah, just like that, they grabbed him up, and he, tried to get away, and then it turned into a full-fledged melee, you know what I mean? Without giving too much detail, but that's pretty much how it happened. So,
And you already have 10 years, and after that altercation, you get 10 more years.
yeah,
How was that? When you got that,
it's terrible.
how was that?
It was terrible. I was mentally fucked up for probably about 6 months.
How was that? How was that?
What do you mean?
That depression, the mental fuck up, whatever it is that you were going through in prison, how was it? I want to know more about that.
it was almost like signs of me losing hope. You know what I mean? Because if I could catch another 10 years within 13 months of me catching this first 10 years, in my head, like, not that, like I said, I knew I didn't have life.
The freedom doesn't feel so sure anymore, or the possibility of it.
It's the idea of it is, I don't want to say it's fading, but it's like, now I gotta wait that much longer to get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? And me understanding and knowing my peoples is like, what are you doing? Come out, get the fuck out of jail. You know what I'm saying?
6 months, you said. So I'm assuming you're depressed, right? For 6 months.
About 3 to 6 months. Yep.
How's that look like? And that's a short time, given the.
Yeah.
But you have to survive. You can't stay depressed in there for too long.
Nah,
you know what I
you
mean?
say what-
Because you could get hurt.
Right.
You know,
what did it look like?
Yeah, like were you in your cell more often? Did you not eat?
I ate. I like to eat, so I
was
ate,
it
but
like
was
your routine? Did your
my
routine
workout
change?
My workout, I didn't work out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I might have did some push-ups every now and then.
You're just yeah.
Mad at the world. Probably didn't get my hair cut, or just
Yeah, so you were down.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, once you said no
man,
haircut,
fuck that
not
shit.
not
I don't
work.
give a I mean, I get it cut. Don't get me wrong. Probably
Not
once
like
a
you
month
used-
as
yeah.
opposed to once a week. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, didn't stayed in the unit. Didn't go outside until my co-defendant like, man, bring your ass outside. Because he didn't like the fact that he had all that time too, but he adapted a little different than me. You know what I'm saying? As far as that. Bring your ass outside. You start playing handball, telling jokes, and then you back. You know what
I'd
I'm
be
saying?
heartbroken.
Yeah, it was.
I'd be heartbroken.
It was fucked up. Don't get me wrong. It was never a time I felt like it was cool. You know what I'm saying? But you get back in your groove.
You don't have a choice.
Exactly.
You don't have a
It's either
choice.
You get better or you die type shit.
You don't have a choice. I mean, I heard one of the guy's stories I shared. He was in Afghanistan. And he's like, when you're at war, he goes, you don't got a time to be sad. You don't got a time to. It'll get you killed, literally.
Literally, and that's
Like, you can't mope around not focused on what's in front of you. So that's why it makes sense when you say you were low, but you didn't. The circumstances made you to survive. To like, okay, your head still has to be somewhat above
yeah,
water.
absolutely. Now, I wasn't just fucked
Yeah,
up. Like,
it was just inside. You were just
and it might I might go. And like I said, I wouldn't get a hair. I wouldn't get, man, fuck that. A haircut for what? Fuck that shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool. I ain't trying to, I don't like none of these niggas in here. You know what I mean? That's what I was on. So, like, I didn't care. I didn't give a fuck. I wasn't trying to impress nobody. I don't even know these dudes.
Did you get did any of your family members visit you shortly after that?
Yep.
How was that?
You put on the face.
Yeah.
I never let.
You definitely
moms,
can't
my
now,
brother, you don't let
especially in the.
Yeah, you don't let them.
Yeah.
You don't let your me personally.
Yeah.
I'm not going out here. Mom is
You can't.
terrible. Nah,
They're already
fuck
worrying
that.
about you enough.
Yeah, I'm.
What'd
Me,
I want to know what you told them. I want to know the face. What was the face you put up for them?
I mean, the face I put up. I tried to be myself. You know what I mean? Or I might see some shit. I might tell them a jail story. You know what I mean? To make them laugh. Something funny. You know what I mean? Or whatever. Just let them know. Maybe I'm not enjoying this, but I'm all right. You know what I mean? Don't worry too much.
You already knew that. Yeah, you already know instinctually that they're already worried about you.
This is the real love right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the love has to be reciprocated. How? With the brave face. I'm all right. You know what I mean? Yeah, mentally I'm going through whatever it is I'm fucking going through. But if I call them, I'm not finna, hell no. That's for somebody else. I let somebody else do it. But me personally, I never gave them that. You know what I'm saying? I never gave them that. No matter what I was going through in there, you know what I mean? I never gave them the they had hope. They knew like, okay, he all right. He all right.
What was I also know that during that time you had a close friend in there who was norteño, and he kind of helped you get out of it. Like, come on, come outside, got you
Yeah.
moving, got you back into a normal program or
Right.
something normal to that. And it's crazy how that works. Like friendships, community, routines, like they're there to help you, even in prison.
Absolutely.
You know, I know a lot of good men in prison. They may not, be upstanding citizens, but they're good men in at heart. And you
Yeah,
know what I mean?
and see,
If that makes sense.
even that term, upstanding citizen.
Yeah, it's garbage.
Yeah, it's like
know?
it's like
What's that mean?
exactly.
It
You know what I'm
doesn't speak.
saying?
It doesn't speak anything to your heart. It
You-
just says you never got a ticket before.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I know that some of the best people I've met. How many people are you going to meet that are going to ride for you, life or death?
Very few.
Very few.
Very few. Some people not even lucky enough.
Some
to have
people
those
never
connections.
experience that, And there's a lot of bad things that happen in prison because it is like it is a criminal atmosphere, and the morals are skewed. The things that are okay.
Morals ain't skewed. It's just the punishments are. The punishments are a little more severe than.
Okay, I like that.
If I owe Visa, all they gonna do is say, "Hey, give me my money. Hey, give me my money. Hey, I want my money," and then they sell it to the collection agency, and then the collection agency tries. Or worst case scenario, you go bankrupt.
So the morals are the same. It's just the punishments are
A little more severe.
a lot more violent.
Absolutely. I mean, what can they do? I can't. If I'm in jail. I can't put you in jail. You know what I mean? I'm an inmate too. So all I can do to you is give you some violence, which is unfortunate, but that's just the reality of what we doing. But the whole world is violent. That's why they got wars in different countries, because that's all that's really respected. You know what I'm saying? For real. If think about it, you know what I'm saying? Now the government.
Do you think that we can have a world without violence?
It's never been. Cain killed Abel. According to if the Bible is as real as people say it is, it's been violence against your fellow man since the beginning. So,
How do you stem that violence?
I have no clue. I don't know.
I think it's possible on an individual level.
Now, yeah, on an individual level. Oh, cool. I can choose personally to say, you know what? Because this is one thing me and another buddy of mine, we used to say, if he made you put his hands on him, if he made you put your hands on him, that means you ran at a game. You lost your ability to outsmart this dude. And that is the last maybe 7 or 8 years of my sentence. That was my motto. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it didn't always work out. Sometimes I ran out of game, but for the most part,
You mostly got to stay away from it. Is what I've like. You got to know how to stay away from it, because if you're in it, you're gonna react. You don't want to be in a position where you have to react. Is how I've always seen it, where you have to react physically. It's best to know those situations, and at your best, if you know how you're gonna react, you know what situations to be on the periphery on, never to be on the forefront on. But I do have hope for humanity. I know violence is around the world. There's wars being waged. There's babies being blown up. There's en masse all over the world,
and that's unfortunate, right?
and it's horrible.
It's horrible.
But we shouldn't do it either. Does that make sense? Like, just because that is the status quo doesn't mean that has to be your status quo, or it doesn't even have to be something that you accept as morally okay.
Now,
Does that make sense?
it makes perfect sense. No matter what you accept morally, because like you said, on the individual level, I can choose to never be violent. I can choose that, but that don't mean that violence is not going to come
That's
my
true.
way. You know
That's
what I mean?
true.
So at that point, what do? Just die and let violence? No, you have to.
You defend yourself.
And that's just the reality of life. You know what I'm saying? Now, like we said, war is terrible. War is terrible. Without war, what do you have? You got somebody being a bully, because it's always going to be somebody being violent. So what do? They swing, you swing back. You know what I'm saying? Unless the Jesus thing, oh, you hit me on one side, I'll let you hit me on the other. But who did?
Who does that?
Who does that?
That's why Jesus is the man,
Who
though.
does that and is respected?
Jesus Christ.
I mean, okay, cool. So they say. I mean, not to say, of course he's respected, but they say this is how he lived.
Yeah.
We don't. I mean, this is a different topic for a different podcast.
I like this topic.
Right.
I like this
But
topic. Well, let me just say something. I believe in Jesus myself, and I know everyone has their own beliefs, but I did grow up in violence. In my home, my mom was physically abusive. Before my parents divorced, my dad was abusive. I was a weird kid growing up, but once I got to exert physical violence on somebody else, it felt good, or even if I got beat up. I couldn't differentiate from when it felt the same to me. Like,
Yeah.
it's a release. It's cathartic. But it's violent, And I do think that's part of human nature in its own way, right? There's aggression. You're gonna have to defend yourself, etc. But the reason I said why Jesus is the man, and which is somebody I try and follow, is because he's the antithesis of how this world is. From the last breath, he's like, forgive him. Who the fuck's going to say that?
right.
You know what I mean? This is why, like you said, so they say, you're right. Who is going to say some shit like this? You have to be so secure in who you are. If we even look at it on a human level, like if there's a child throwing a stone at you, what are you going to do to the child? It doesn't hurt you none to turn the other cheek. It's a kid. And I guess that's why maybe Jesus could say that and mean it. But when we say it, it's like, hey, we're on the same plane here. Like, we're humans, We're not God. You hit me, I'm going to hit you back.
Right.
And, that's why I like that, at least Jesus as a model, right? As an idol, as a figure. It's impossible to get there from how it's written. But it's like the pursuit of trying and having and learning to accept that as honorable. Like, I know if somebody hits me, I'm going to hit back. And I'm not going to have moral qualms about it. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
But I still understand that in my heart, like I would want it to never get there, Of
course, we all, listen, I feel like nobody is praying. I mean, maybe some people.
Some people do
pray for war. You know what I mean? And all, and that's
you didn't meet guys in there who loved violence.
Yeah, I met guys in there.
What were your thoughts on those guys? There's guys that I met guys in there who were just like you could feel at the core what?
They're still good people. You know what I mean? Now,
there's goodness in them, yes. I can't say at the core they're good people. The goodness is in them as it is in all of us. It's just what you want to tap into. Some people X that out so much and zero in on whatever they got going on the personas they've built, on maybe they focus on usually what I've found, how they've been hurt, whenever that started, and transmute that into something negative.
Yeah, but
some guys are enthralled in that.
I mean, yeah.
Some guys are enthralled in that. They're like, oh, and they're for real. They're like, oh yeah, you can. Oh, it's like, yeah. I stabbed him 9 times. This and that, like But there's a smirk.
You see those. Of course, you see those individuals, right? But you see the individuals that talk about violence like we might talk about the football game.
Yeah.
But when you talk to them about something other than violence, 9 times out of 10, they might be good people. They just responded to a situation different than I would, or you would, or whoever would. You know what I'm saying? Or we might respond the same way. You know what I'm saying? It's just, now if you just every day you seeking out, I'm gonna stab him, I'm gonna stab him.
Well, not that.
That's psychotic. But now,
yeah, that's
you know what I mean? That's psychotic. But who am I to tell you if I owe you $1 or $100 or penny, whatever. I can't tell you how to feel about your penny. I don't have that right. Now, is there a moral code? Does he feel like his morals are not his morals? Does he might feel like his manhood? Who knows what he's going through mentally to make him respond in that violent way? You know what I'm saying? We don't know. I can't tell you how to feel about yours. You know what I'm saying? I can't if or the disciplinarian aspect of it. You know what I'm saying? I can't say if somebody violated the rules, whatever the prison, everybody that's been to jail knows whatever the prison rules are. Let's just say you didn't mind your business. Yeah, one individual might be able to say, all right, I'm gonna just holler at him. Hey man, stay out in people's business. And that's the end of it. But it might be somebody that say, I'm gonna stab him because he got in my business. You know what I'm saying? And is that normal? I don't know. It's jail. You know what I'm saying?
Well, in there, that's not abnormal.
So
outside looking in, like if we have something like that as free men in society, in civil society, that's a little over the top. It's I think a normal person would look at that incident and be a little bit almost offended, almost like it's like, you know, because like you said, the punishment doesn't fit the whatever the issue that was at hand.
Let's call it a crime, because no matter what, if it's a rule, it means it's and you break the rule, it's a crime. You know what I'm saying? No matter whether you're in jail or on the streets, whatever.
Right. No, prison's different because there's different rules and there's different repercussions for the breaking of those rules. But if those same things are carried out in civil society, which we're in now, which me and you are in, right, I would even look at that and be a little dismayed. Like, what is going on here? Like, I may have an emotional response to it as well, because what becomes more morally wrong at that point is the punishment.
And
is how I would take it, you know, and
those are your personal morals.
So I want to know, what is your personal moral compass? So now as a free man, you know,
I'm going to act as a free man. Now, you know what I mean? Now, who's to say if somebody came through this door, right?
No. We're talking about the dollar. The dollar. If somebody came to this door as a stranger, you don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? The dollar. Like if somebody owes you $10, is that worth somebody's life? I mean, in prison, you get killed for owing $150. That's what somebody's life is worth in there.
You asking me if
you don't think that out like now, like morally, you would be able to say
my personal moral? Nah, if you owe me $10 and refuse to pay me, that mean I bought you for cheap.
Here though, for $10.
Yeah, that means I bought you, maybe even in there. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you know what? You keep that. I don't want it.
Exactly.
Stay the fuck away from me.
I don't think that's worth me going into that state of mind. You know?
Nah, of course not.
It's not.
You know, that only comes with mental growth. That don't come with
that shit is dark, bro. For some people, like you have to really, you go into a state of mind. Some people can do it black and white. This is just business. Those are the professionals, you know. Other people, it's like, oh, there's a wind up to it, and I do think it can be a little bit dark.
I mean,
you know.
Yeah, I mean, cool, right? And my point is, you not wrong for saying, I'm not gonna do that. I don't like that. You're not wrong for that. Now, is it psychotic for
the other guy to do it? Yeah, is that psychotic for someone to? Yeah. That's my question.
Okay, what are they doing
out here? No, we're not talking about prison.
Okay, out here, what are they doing?
Guy owes him. Where you're gonna say $100? Is that cause for
who
some?
Knows who? Now I'm gonna say this, right? I might say, oh man, fuck that $100. I might not. Me personally, I might not. You know, I might not let it bother me because I know I'm about to get way more than that, whatever the fuck it is, right? But who knows what the root of all this shit is? Who knows who knows what went on behind this $100? Because at some point, if it gets to that point, I can't guarantee it, but it becomes not about the $100 no more.
Exactly. It's about ego.
It's or principle. It might not be ego.
The principle has to do with ego, because if other people are around,
I know. Listen, I won't say that because I won't agree with that. Only because I know people that you won't even know their business.
so off the principle, it's okay out here for somebody to possibly stab somebody to death over $100. Would you say it's okay?
What I say is, I mean, I'm not a judge.
Would
not gonna.
you say it's okay for you?
No.
This is
Okay,
this is good conversation.
okay, cool. You asking me would I stab somebody?
Would you
or
stab
shoot him?
somebody
Let's
or
just,
shoot him? Yeah,
because he owes me $100.
yeah.
Probably not.
Right.
Why? Because first off, if I lend you $100 or gave you $100, I probably could stand to lose it. First off, now what could come with that? Me stabbing them or shooting them or whatever. Yeah, I might go to jail for a long ass time, and I don't want to go to jail.
It's not worth it.
You know what I'm saying?
Right?
So, but
On the self-preservation part, it's
okay,
not.
I'm cool.
Right?
You know what I mean, I'm cool, but I'm not gonna judge this man. I mean, now I might in a conversation, I might say, man, this motherfucker crazy. You know what I mean? I might say that, but what the principle of it all? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm not gonna say he's wrong for having his own principles, his own personal. I'm not gonna say that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I do want to comment on this, because I think, there is a level of being institutionalized. There is a level of being born in violence.
Let me say this, right? Go ahead.
There is.
I'm gonna talk about being institutionalized.
There is, right? When you're in prison and these are the rules, and I get the rules. Like when I'm in prison, these are the rules of the game in here. Okay, you figure them out. It is what it is. Right. In prison, if someone gets stabbed over $150, this is how order is maintained in here.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a part of the game. I accept that as being okay in prison. I don't accept it as it being okay at large. I don't accept it as it being okay out here. Like I just don't. It's dumb. But these are the rules. I understand that. Play by the rules. You should figure it out. Now coming out here, if I see that out here, to me it's more sad that an individual is willing to take somebody's life for a couple $100s. For it can be in its own way heartbreaking that somebody, you're right, what's going on in somebody's mind when they decide to take aggressive violent action. What is going through that person's mind? What's that person been through? Like, fuck. What hurt have you been through? Like, this must have been okay for you for a long time. And it's sad all the way around. And I don't, even though I know that violence, we're all capable of violence, and we all will do what we have to do to defend ourselves and our interests. But for things that happen in the streets and in prisons, like, this is normal stuff. And I do think it's sad. Like, it's fucked up, So when I'm asking you that, you did mention that maybe the morals are the same, but the punishment is what's skewed.
And I say that to say it's about the personal individual. Now, you say institutionalized, right? An institution don't have to be a prison.
I agree 100%.
Institution
is public school system.
And some people subscribe to that institution. Some people, oh, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to graduate high school. I'm going to go to college. I'm going to get a degree, and I'm going to go work for. I'm going to go to school to learn how to work for somebody.
I agree.
So, institution is more than prison. You know what I mean? So, now you say you could be institutionalized and never be in prison.
You could just be dumb.
When you can't think outside of what your society, whatever that society is, told you to think. That's all it is when you say institutionalized. Somebody told you how to think.
But this is what part of institution being is. When I'm saying that in the prison terms, when we're in prison and we're instilled into us by the aggressive violence that is always in the air. These are the rules. This is what there's a way, and this is what happens when you don't follow the rules. Those rules become ingrained in us, and the way that we carry out our own. I know my own moral compass was skewed because I didn't give a fuck. Someone's getting stabbed because they owe $150. He shouldn't have owed the $150. But this guy's an addict. You
But,
know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
he's an addict, but at the end of the day, they say ignorance of the law is no excuse to break it. Okay, now this is the government. This is the American government that said that they say this. Yeah, but I didn't know I broke the law. It don't matter. You're going to jail. Mm-hmm. It don't matter if you knew. Oh, but I'm an addict. It don't matter if you're an addict. You owe that money.
I agree. You
Now,
owe the money.
My thing is, it's like the same shit, the same stuff that's going on in prison is going on in is going on in society. And what I mean by that,
I see the world as like, yeah,
it's the same shit. It's
I
just
kinda
okay.
see
There's
it like
certain
that.
things. It's certain, and I'm the reason. And what I'm saying is, it's like it's not that what got me through jail was shit I learned on the street. Learned, and I ain't gonna even say on the street. Learned when I was free. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you hear certain shit. I don't think I'm institutionalized now, right? I've never. Don't get me wrong. I understood what had to be done in jail for survival. I understand the rules and all the shit, but I was never one that said, "Oh, being that I'm in jail, I'm gonna do jail shit." No, fuck no. I'm a thinker. I'm an individual, but I also understand survival. I understand that A, B, C, D, E. I understand that. So yeah, I got to do A, B, C, D, E. You know what I'm saying? Because this was going on. It's for my survival. So I'm gonna do.
you're gonna survive.
I'm gonna survive. But at the end of the day,
You can't survive in
the
there
prison
without respect either.
Right.
We know this.
So with just because some old motherfucker said this is the rules in prison, that didn't mean that I'm gonna live the way he told me to. Fuck out of here. I'm not gonna. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna be blatant and a renegade. Nah, hell nah. Because you're stupid. The people. You know what happened to renegades on the street? Just say a person that never broke the law, but he's going against the grain of whatever. Yeah, you get hurt in some way. So it's all the same shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not a dummy. I understand that you're going to mind somebody. But at the end of the day, there's never going to be an individual to say, this is how you're going to live. This is who you're going to be.
Well, you're saying pretty much follow your own moral compass, which is not bad advice. I mean,
Right. Okay, that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm not going to okay, now the yard might know this guy owes guy owes CJ $100.
Yeah.
The whole yard knows, and everybody, CJ's gonna stab him.
Yeah.
I might not. I may fuck out of here. I'm not gonna. You keep that. You know what I'm saying? But you also have to be smart enough to say, I'm not gonna give nobody nothing. I'm not gonna allow nobody to owe me $100. You know that does away with a whole bunch of bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, when you dumb enough to allow an addict to owe you $100, yeah, whatever comes with that, I hate to say it, but whether it be the addict or you whatever happened, yeah, you kind of deserve it. You know what I'm saying? You got to be smarter. You got to be able to think on your feet. Okay, cool. This was going on. In order to ensure my survival, I might not want to stab everybody that owe me. I'm not going to allow nobody to owe me, though. You know what I'm saying? Or if they do owe me, yeah, you keep that. That shit ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because I got whatever else I got going on. You understand that?
I get what you're saying. But
because I don't care what, there's always gray areas. Maybe that was just in federal prison. I don't know.
I just think I was trying to make that as if a situation were to happen out here that's similar to that. I think when we're free, it's kind of like,
yeah, you gotta adapt.
yeah, it's like fuck that shit. Like, oh, what's $100? What's $500? Like, you
gotta adapt.
You
now
don't.
the person that don't adapt, or the person that takes that 500, whether it be on the streets or in prison, whatever, but the person that decides whatever he wants to do about his $500 or $5, whatever who am I? Now if he does some wild shit, he gonna have to deal with the powers that be. But who am I?
So if that person came to you for advice, and he's thinking like, you know what, I think I'm gonna get off on this dude.
What do you mean?
Out here, what would be your advice?
I would telling me. Me personally, I already don't believe you.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
if that's how you felt, you don't need me to tell you to go do it.
Yeah, some people do need to be talked off though.
I'm never gonna tell you, yeah, go kill him, go shoot.
No. Some people want them. Like, hey, chill.
I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now, maybe I am that guy. Maybe I will say, yeah, chill out, man, you tripping. You know what I'm saying? But in my head, I'm gonna say to myself, man, that he probably faking. He might, you know what I'm saying? He probably wanted me, because if you want me to talk you down, that means already you having a thought that I don't want to do this. So when you say, oh, I'm thinking about getting off on, no, you not. You already had the thought of not getting off. Mm-hmm. So you don't need me to tell you don't get off, because I'm not going to come to you and I might say, hey, what do you think about this, that, and the third? I might ask for certain advice about certain shit. But if I'm talking about I'm going to go do something to somebody, I don't need, if I'm going to do it or I'm not, I don't need you to say yes or no. That's just me though. And I'm a different kind of individual. You know what I'm saying? I feel like when you need to be talked down, you really don't. You already feel like you don't want to do it. And that's all right. You don't need, that's follower shit. You need my approval, basically. Hopefully CJ say, don't do it. You know what I'm saying? So what if I say do it? Then you're going to do it, but you didn't want to. So now you're a follower. You just did it because I said so. So I don't respect that type of shit. That shit is corny to me. You need to be man enough. We all do. You need to be, I ain't going to even say man enough. You need to be grown enough to say, you know what? I'm cool. And I don't care what they think about it. You got to be that individual. But if you're not that individual, that means you dealing with ego. That means you dealing with you worried about what people think. Don't get me wrong, we all, got an image or whatever, but be grown, be adult enough to say, you know what, I'm cool. Because at the end of the day, you can't run from yourself. If I tell you, yeah, go jump off the bridge, and you jump off the bridge, you was already thinking about jumping off the bridge. Or you allow another human being to have that much power over your decision making, over your thinking, over your individuality, that's unfortunate. So am I going to tell somebody to go stab him or go act? I'm not going to never tell you that. I'm going to always tell you the opposite. You know what I'm saying? But if you listen to me telling you, no, don't do it, you didn't want to do it anyway.
I do think some people can be on the fence sometimes, though. And some people can be on, I get what you're saying. The doubt is there. But I think when people come to another person for advice, sometimes the decision isn't made. There are dudes who already weren't going to do it, and they're just looking for the validation. Some dudes don't know, though. I mean, it's decision making, and when
if you don't know, that'll present itself. The fact of you not knowing to present itself. But if you come to an individual, say, "Hey, man, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think?" Listen, you ain't thinking about nothing. You need to know what I think, because you know what I'm saying. Or sometimes people, you might tell them the opposite and they still do it. Yeah, you probably was really thinking about doing it because he did it. You know what I'm saying?
So it could be, that's what I'm saying. Like sometimes you tell them and they're like, well, thanks for your input. And they still go a direction or
But that's the
another.
thing. You was faking. You didn't need my input. You was gonna do it anyway. Why you come ask me? I don't know, but I understand we all human and people, we're all individuals and we're gonna react to situations different.
Like I believe in being a stand-up guy and let the pieces fall where they fall.
That's cool, right? And I agree to a degree. But
I think you do. I think you agree more.
I mean, no,
than
don't
to a
get me
degree.
wrong. I agree, right? But because I try to be a stand-up dude and all of that. But listen, nobody's everything, and everybody's not one thing. So for me to say this is how what is a stand-up dude?
Someone who's honest.
But it's all about
Integrity. You talked about it. Integrity.
Right, cool, right? But listen, right? Let me say this. Wrong and right is a relative term. What you might say was wrong, for me it might be right. Let's just say something happened. Let's just say right now you choked me out and or no, this this is just an example, right? Let's just say that happened, right? My mother is gonna say that guy was wrong. But you might have did it because I was trying to choke you out. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Your mother is going to say, my son was right. But it's one act. So that's why I say wrong and right is a relative term. So nobody's everything. It's not good to be conniving. But what am I conniving for? You know what I mean? What is the reason behind what you're doing? Now, if you just going around being a snake to everybody around you, yeah, you're a different kind of individual. Yeah. But if I'm going around being a snake to everybody around me, but I'm feeding my baby, maybe you understand that. That's just the reality of the world we live in, because everybody is everybody on earth, from the bum that you see when you leave out of this, you know what I mean, area, or however, whatever the socially accepted term for those people are, from him to the president, everybody is just playing for position. Everybody, you, me, we live in our life playing for position. Now, where you gained, somebody lost. Is that wrong? Nah, it's just the reality of the world we live in. Now, they might train you.
I heard you say in this interview before that even the worst of the worst in prison is still a good person. There's still a good person in there. My question to you is, how do you bring that good person, and even the worst of the worst, and in all of us, and this is for an answer just out of your own heart.
Okay.
How do we bring that good person out so that we know all this bad, especially when you've grow up certain ways. You know all this shit exists. You've seen it. There's no denying it. It's not a fairy tale. It isn't where it's just reality. But even in that reality, you yourself said a definitive statement that even the worst, there's a good person in there. How do we bring that good person to the forefront?
Me personally.
How do you do that for yourself?
You have to make the decision to say, you know what, I'm personally choosing to do this instead of that. Not because this guy said it's right or that guy said it's wrong. I'm doing this
because it's in your heart.
Yeah, that's what it has to be. Now, can I bring out the good in you? Maybe. I might be able to.
I don't think that's more important as you seeing the good in me, because I'm not sure if you could I think it's important that how you do view people, that there is goodness in them,
Yeah, because it might be something as simple as you gave me a shot of coffee. You didn't have to. You know what I'm saying? He's not a terrible dude, because a terrible dude wouldn't have gave me shit. You know what I'm saying? So, but we can't live our life. I feel like I can't live my life only trying to find the good and bring out the good in people, and
what about for yourself though? Just for yourself.
What for myself?
Like we just said, bringing out the goodness in yourself. You said it's a decision.
You've
made a decision.
You make a decision.
I think that's a part of it.
Yeah, you have to make a decision to say, you know what, I'm cool on that. whatever that is. You know what I'm saying? Not because society said it's not cool. I'm cool on that because I'm choosing not to. I don't want to deal with that no more. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool. And
And you had that moment.
you got to be brave enough, because when I decide to say I'm cool on this, that, or the third, it's always gonna be somebody to say, "Man, what you tripping?" You know what I'm saying? It's always gonna be, and you got to be adult enough to say, "All right, cool, I'm tripping. Either fuck with me or not." You know what I'm saying? And that's just the reality of what it is. We have to. It's with that type of thing. It's cut and dry. If you making a decision for your life, whatever that decision was, it's gonna, with every decision we make, you're gonna have to cut some fat. You're gonna have to say, okay, well, CJ don't like me because of this decision I made. Okay, cool, fuck CJ. I'm doing this. And that's the decision. That's the choice. You have to make. You have to be man enough or adult enough. I'm gonna say man because we men. You got to be man enough to accept whatever backlash comes with the decisions you make, whether you're doing something negative or positive. Because everybody not gonna agree with you. Everybody not gonna say, yeah, people ain't gonna cheer you on. This is the. Now we could want that for the society and all that. We could want it, but that's not the reality of the world we live in. Haters are real. Haters exist. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That is haters. Listen.
But they always say that, fuck the haters.
Cool,
Who cares what the haters
but
got to say?
Haters are just as much a part of the game in all our life as the people that love it. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. So for me to only focus, or for me to only say, try to act like there's only love, I would be faking.
Well, that's not the case. It's not the case. It's not. Okay, because reality is reality.
Reality's reality.
You know.
And that's why I try to stay right there. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. Of course, I might do some shit that you might perceive as not reality. Why did he do that? You know what I'm saying? That might be the case.
Yeah.
But
Or not okay in my reality.
cool.
Right. But what I'm saying is, I think you already have it right where you have a predisposition to see the goodness in people at large. That you like, that you're able to at least have the thought that there's a good person in there somewhere with whoever you may be talking
Yeah.
to.
But I'm gonna say this too, right? Because I live in reality. I also know maybe the dirtbag in that same motherfucker might be stronger than the good.
100, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what I say is, I'm cool. I'm gonna let somebody else find the good in them, but it's in there. I know it's in there. You know what I'm saying? We all because listen, it's a yin and yang with all of us. Just like you got, the good in you probably shows itself more than the bad in you, right? But the bad in you is still in there.
Oh, it's there.
It period in all of us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you might do one thing that's bad, and that would make me say you might have done a whole bunch of good stuff, but you might do something that's bad that makes me say, you know what, I'm cool on you.
Which is why you can't care what other people think.
Exactly. You can't care.
You can't.
And that's just what it is. We all got good. We all got bad in us.
I think we have to choose to lean in towards the good. I do think that's a big choice we all have to make. I think I agree with you about reality. I do agree with you even that the world at times is like a bigger stage of prison politics, and they just call it regular politics, and it does consist of.
I seen a movie.
Yeah.
They said, what they say, war is politics being acted out in violence.
Yeah, well, yeah, like it's
Politics is
power,
war without violence.
power and money, and these things happen in a small setting within the prison walls, and it happens at large in the world. And I agree with that notion, but even on the big scale, I think we have to try and lean into the best parts of us. On the individual scale, we have to make a decision. Like you said, like, I want to choose the good in me. I know I'm fucked up. Don't get me wrong.
We all are.
Yeah,
Everybody.
I know that. And I know that if I let my bad side off the rails, like you're right, somebody else looking out my, I'll never fuck with Jose again, right? Okay, who cares? The people who love me are still gonna love me, but it's more about me not me continue. It's a decision you have to make every day that embeds into your heart, into every moment where I choose the good in me, and because I choose the good in me, I can see the good in you, and to live my life from that, at least from that space, when it comes to dealing with people. Now, when you're in prison and you've been traumatized, like I have, and I would venture, obviously you have as well. It's harder because you've seen so much of the other side. Like you've seen the reality that a lot of other people haven't ever seen.
Is that a blessing or a curse?
I think it's a more of a blessing. I think there's more wisdom to be gained in that. But at that same token, like now how I'm living life, there's so much good out there that I would want to still experience. There's so much beauty. There's so much, and not just traveling the world, but in people, in you, like in this conversation. Now you can't have that attitude in prison. You can't have that attitude in the streets, because dudes are playing much more aggressively for position, and it is a little bit more on steroids. So there's you do what you got to do, right? And we talked about environment before, where then you just become the environment. But when you get out of that environment and you experience different people, it opens up your heart to, like, man, I'm really seeing what I've wanted to see. Like, yeah, people are going to lie. People are going to steal. People are going to cheat. People are going to be people.
You know what's crazy?
But you could still, like, the good can outweigh the bad is what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't even necessarily need to balance out. The bad shit is going to happen. Like, life is going to come at you. But, like, what your heart is centered on, like, it's what you pay attention to, right? Magnifies itself. Yeah, all that bad shit's there. But these are the things I'm focusing on. These are the things that I'm striving towards. Like, and you put the blinders on. That can be for your goals, but it's like you said, when we're talking about the abstract, the love and the goodness, you made a decision. Even a decision to, I want to go back into where on that 12th year when you're like, you know what, I'm cool. You made a decision to, like, start doing the things you got to do to steer your life in a whole nother direction. And I think that's the best parts of you manifesting. Like, when you make that decision, it's not just up here, like it's up here to really keep it going. And I think this is a part of that. But, we agree on that. The only disagreement is, like, that isn't all reality. Reality is also, like, it's beautiful, it's amazing, but you have to be in those environments where that is more dominant than the negative, if that makes sense.
As long as you understand the yins and yangs of life, yeah, okay, I might allow the good to show, but I have to keep from going crazy. You got to acknowledge the
You
bad.
have to, bro.
You have to.
But that's also why you're courageous, because it's someone who doesn't know those stark realities. For you to choose good, you've just been fluffed with this your whole life. You know what I mean? And you haven't experienced. There's a different level of courage and bravery to have seen the ugly, the good, the really ugly, and to be like, you know what? I'm still going to choose this. Because we know a lot of people who never, they don't even think they can make a choice. They've already let the environment dictate their fate. And we know how strong the environment is. So that's not a knock on the individual either. It's just the environment, it's its own beast. Like you said, who are your friends? You can do what your friends are doing. What's in your environment? You're a fish in the pond that you're in.
You're a fish in the pond that you're in. I agree with that 100%. You got to maintain your individual. I don't care what you're a part of,
Right.
what group, what way of thinking. You got to maintain your individuality.
You kept your individuality. You made the decision. I want to know what, like, you had that moment. What was that moment like? What were the steps after that to continue that growth upon your release as well, and then moving forward?
Okay, but once you realize you don't know it all, once you realize you can't know it all, you want to know something. You know, so you read. I do, me. You know, reading books or talking to people that live different lives, you know, because to a certain degree, you're around the people that I might not know these individuals, but I'm comfortable around them because they understand my story, because my story is their story, so to speak. But, you know, you start rubbing shoulders with people that lived different than you. But yeah, they happen to be in jail, but they live different. You know what I'm saying? You start learning different things and looking at life through a different lens, and you know what I mean? And what's the you got to just open yourself up to
Exactly.
you got to just open yourself up to different possibilities. You got to open yourself up to different possibilities. So you have to be, it takes a willingness. You got to be willing. You know, everybody might not, you know, the because it's easy to be a dummy. Whatever that means, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you don't got to think for yourself.
It's
That's
easy.
easy.
It's easy. That's easy. But the challenge comes when you want to think for yourself. You know what I mean? That's the challenge right there.
When you have agency, when you understand that your decisions have a whole lot of power, that you can at least set the sails for how your life can go. Yeah, that's a lot.
But like you said, some people don't understand that. You know what I mean? But it's all about having the willingness.
Do you have any sort of belief? Like, is there a little bit of faith in there? Like,
Religious?
Not religious, just the word faith. Like, is there like a belief? Do you have like a faith where it's like,
Okay, I'm gonna say this, right? Just because you believe something doesn't make it true. So
what I'm saying is, do you have faith that, okay, let me phrase this how I'm trying to phrase it. You made a decision in prison to change, to shift your direction. At that moment, I'm not saying did you have faith in God? Did you have faith in or any other religion? I'm saying did you have faith that that decision is going to lead to a better life? Do you believe that the decisions you're making now will lead you closer to your goals?
I've always, like I told you in the beginning, I've always believed in my personal dreams. Now, a lot of them never came true, you know what I'm saying? But that don't mean I'm going to stop pursuing whatever I find. I don't even call it happiness. That don't mean I'm going to stop pursuing the things that I want in life, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, we all started out as, everybody came from nothing. And what I mean by that is even people like, let's say Paris Hilton. Mm-hmm. She comes from a long line of money. Mm-hmm. Somebody was broke before her. It was a broke Hilton hundreds and hundreds of years ago. So I know that when it's all said and done, everybody came from nothing. So what makes me so different that I can't come from nothing and be something? You know what I'm saying? Let me use the rapper Jay-Z.
Yeah, so you believe that your actions and your decisions will lead to a better future.
Absolutely. I don't believe it. I know it.
Yeah,
I don't believe
I
it.
agree.
I know
some of it. I needed faith to believe in like what my steps were taking. Like for me, I couldn't believe in just the steps I was taking itself. I had not just, oh, this is going to happen if I do this. Like I had to have faith that, like I had to feel it. You know what I mean? I had to feel it to then believe it. That's what I was trying to say with the faith. I had to feel it deep inside. Like, man, this is possible. it wasn't just analytical for me. And everybody works a little bit different. But I agree. I think the decisions you make, I think that decision you made a long time ago to shift your life, like, you know, it's like when you see a line spread across time. Like when you made that decision, it could have just been this small pivot. But over time, you're in a whole different place.
Absolutely.
When it, you know what I mean? When
Absolutely.
when it's all said and done.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. But let me think. It's like it's a science to it, right? Let's just say water, H2O. It's 2 parts what hydrogen, 1 part oxygen, or however the fuck it goes. If you do A, B, and C, D has to come. So it's not like but for me, it wasn't so much of a belief, just like you've heard the stories, or you heard everybody say it. If you get in the streets, you're going to end up dead or in jail.
I heard everyone say it. Yeah.
And what happened?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's very few success stories coming out the streets. You know what I'm saying? There's some now, you know, whatever we call success, but it's some that you cool. I'm happy for you. But so if I've been doing this, that, and the third for all these years and I'm getting this result, for me to continue that is insanity. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, let me do this because this is going to lead to this. It has to. It's not going to do nothing else because it's been leading to that. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what some might call positivity. You know what I'm saying? Whatever that is, okay, I was doing this, that, and the third, and it was leading to this. So if I do this, that, and the third, it has to lead to that. You know what I'm saying? And
or at least in that general direction. You know what I mean?
At least in that general direction.
Yeah.
Because, and that's just what it is. Because you have to dare.
You have to dare.
You have to dare to think outside of what
you have to dare to do it too, though.
Yep.
You know, you have to dare to do. And I know how crazy it is to come from where you come from, to do the time that you did, and then to have the dreams that you have. It's like you.
It's almost like a manifestation. Like, not to cut you off, but there's certain things that it's more than belief for me.
Right. It's belief and action for me.
Okay,
but for me, I need the feeling. For you, you have the like it. You know the steps.
The knowing.
Yeah.
I like where you say I believe. We might say I believe that on the other side of that door is a hallway.
Yeah.
Right. But just because we believe it, don't make it true.
That 100%.
But when you know it's a hallway on the other side of the door, it's a totally, and that's how I take my life. I tell myself, I know this is gonna happen. It's gonna happen because once I do this, that, and the third, it has to happen. It's a basic science. You know what I'm saying? So it's like belief. Just because we believe don't make it true. So I don't want to believe. I want to know. Even if it's some might say, man, Ghost is tripping. That's far fetched. Nah, I know what's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? I know that. But that's when it happens. When you tell, okay, now you might fall short, but when you know, that means imagine going into a fight knowing you was gonna win. You understand the difference in the way you're gonna fight, or knowing you're gonna lose, or
what happens? You go into that fight knowing you're gonna win and then you lose.
Cool, you went in there and you fought your heart out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You
keep going. You keep going. You get up for the next fight. Yeah.
When is the fight lost?
When you don't fight.
When you don't fight. So, and eventually it's gonna go your way. I'm
on board with that.
Yeah, it's not so much. Now, if I go in there, I'm gonna win this fight, and then round 1 I get beat up. Unless I go into round 2. Okay, once I start round 2, round 1 don't even matter no more. You know what I'm saying? And 3, 4, 5, all the way till it goes my way. That's how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? So when I say I know success is coming, success has already came my way. You know what I mean? Success is success has already came my way. It's just now I just got to catch up to it. You know what I'm saying?
What's happiness look like for you? What's it feel like?
I'm happy now. Freedom. Total mental freedom. Yeah, I got a probation officer. So what? I don't care. I'm free. But I was free in jail. It's all about mental freedom. I'm not afraid to think different than society said I had to think to be successful. I'm not afraid to think different than that. I'm not afraid to be me. Whoever I am, so I'm happy right now. I'm happy because I don't give a fuck what you think. You know what I'm saying? It's okay for you to think however you think about me, but I'm going to be me tomorrow. I'm not going to wake up and say, you know what? Oh man, because that's not happiness. I'm going to continue on my journey and manifest the things that I know I'm going to manifest day by day by day by day. There's very few people, my brother, my mom, my sister, a few individuals. I've told exactly where I was told, yeah, by this time upon my release, this is where I'm going to be. And I'm there. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you got to believe. Beyond not believe, you got to know. I know. Now, if I choose to do some dumb shit, I have to know that some dumb shit is going to come with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to.
But sometimes you could do everything right. Life still happens. I think life still happens for all of us.
Unless you die or you quit. Unless you.
Oh, you can't lose if you don't quit. We know
that's where I'm at.
Yeah,
because I'm not.
I agree
quit.
with that.
I'm gonna keep fighting. I got a big brother, so what I mean by that is I got a big brother and big cousins. Just keep fighting is the thing. Just keep fighting. Just stay down.
How do you keep fighting? And I'm talking about in pursuit of dreams and goals. Because I'm in the.
You have to know it ain't gonna go.
I'm in my dream, right? I feel this is part of my dream, and the things I've been able to do and stuff like that. But there's like a pace. There's a pace that you get to last long term, and you may already have that from the time you did, I would assume.
Like a marathon.
Yeah, like a marathon. How do you set your pace where you have these goals, you have your knowing, but sometimes that knowing can like drive you crazy if it doesn't happen when you want it to happen, right?
It can. But
how do you do it with peace in your heart and peace of mind as well?
I don't know. I think it's just you got to be wired a certain way to maintain peace in your mind and heart. You know what I'm saying? You got even hope, right? I don't even like using the word hope because hope leaves room for doubt. I hope it happens, which means in the back of your mind, you saying it could not happen. You know what I'm saying? So you just gotta just don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on yourself. We have to know that. Of course, it's not gonna be sunshine and rainbows and
we've attested to that.
Yeah, we know that.
Yeah.
So even my journey upon my from the time I've been out, it ain't been easy. You know what I'm saying? It's not. It ain't been just.
What's been the hardest part since you've been free?
The hardest part. This waiting process. You know what I'm saying? This waiting process. But all of my small successes, that's what keeps me going. You know what I'm saying? Knowing another success is coming. When is it coming? Who knows? You know what I'm saying? But constantly, it's just, you got to just keep digging.
And
you get to the top of the mountain.
And how you're built, you're saying you already know how to keep the peace in that hustle almost.
It's what it is. It's a hustle. You know what I'm saying? It's like to get to the top of the mountain, you got to start taking steps. I can't just say, this ain't I Dream of Genie Rider thing and now I'm at the top. No, you got to take the steps.
Yeah.
You got to take slow. It might be small steps. Sometimes it's going to be a large step, but you got to take these steps and know this is going to happen. You visualize it and then you go get it. You say, okay, I want this. I want a big house on the hill. Let's say that, right? Cool. I want a big house on the hill, but we got to know that the big house on the hill don't come without taking these small steps, whatever these small steps are. It might be just something as simple as me saying, okay, I'm going to go get my GED. Then after I get my GED, I'm going to read all these books. I'm going to read about real estate and business or whatever the case may be. I'm going to learn, get it, because that ain't nothing that's taught in our communities. You don't just, people in the ghetto don't just learn about real estate, you know what I'm saying, or bit or whatever. So you start adding to you start adding to yourself personal value. You know what I'm saying? You start adding. The person you are today ain't the person you was 10 years ago. Why? Because you kept adding to you. You kept adding, and then you might have read one book and said to yourself, like, God damn, I got a long way to go. But you kept going, and now you still ain't where you want to be. You know what I mean? It's your dreams are bigger than this. I know it is. You know what I'm saying? And if it's not, that's unfortunate, because this is cool. This is great. But how old are you? About 37? 38? 36.
About to be 37.
Okay, cool. Let's just say if with all things constant, your life ain't over. You got a whole lot of life to live. So if you accomplished your main goal at 36, that means the rest of your life gonna be boring to you. You feel what I'm saying? So you got to just keep clawing, keep going, keep adding to it. You know what I'm saying? Today is this, tomorrow is that. You just keep adding to your progression. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. I have to just keep adding to these small successes, bit by bit by bit by bit, and not be distracted by what you got, because that's your shit. That's yours. I'm not distracted. I don't envy what you got.
Nipsey Hussle said, "I stay in my own lane. Ain't no traffic in it." You know, like once you figure out what your goals are to yourself, I do think there is a unique path for yourself. Like even if it's in the real estate, there's a bunch of other, but it's not you doing it. You know what I mean? So like there's other people doing stuff like this, but they're not me and I'm not them. So like once you find it's just you versus you. It's whatever goals you have, you do it.
But you have to realize that. You have to come to the realization that it's only me versus me. You know what I'm saying? Because I agree with that. I'm not in competition with you. What do you get at? What do I get out of that? You know what I'm saying? Being in competition with you. I mean, now maybe
unneeded stress.
Maybe a healthy competition. Cool. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He got this. Okay, cool. And maybe if we buddies, we build off each other. You know what I'm saying? But now the quiet competition where I'm looking at you like, oh, this mother. Nah, that ain't cool. Just focus on your shit. Stay in your lane. You can't crash like that. You can't crash staying in your lane. You can and like he said, it's no traffic. You just stay focused on whatever you visualized. Stay focused on that. Stay focused on your vision. You know what I'm saying? Because your vision ain't my vision. You know what I'm saying? If I'm focused on it's like we all stars in our own movie. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate that some people don't even know that. Some people are supporting cast in my movie or your movie, or you know what I'm saying?
I think you're right. We are the main character in our own story. I think even those people who just let themselves be supporting cast, I think they're still the main character in their own story. They just don't know it and they don't take the ownership for it. You know, if that makes sense.
100%. 100%. But that's what makes them not the star in their movie, because they don't listen. If you don't know, then you don't know. So cool. Keep being number 2. Keep putting yourself as number 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. That's cool. But yeah, I'm on your podcast. But I'm on a podcast. Is you understand the difference in that? Oh yes, this is your thing right here. But you have me on your thing. You know what I mean? I'm the star of, you know what I'm saying? This specific, because you own all of them.
Well, you were 2 different worlds, 2 different stories.
Exactly.
Like when this is said and done, like we had this moment, but you have your whole.
Absolutely.
And everyone
has
has
the whole point of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is all, you know what I mean? We all have our own. I'm trying to figure out how to say it, but just remain being the star in your movie. Understand that.
Yeah, like, and part of that is owning your story, whatever that is. Not being ashamed of your story.
Which is why I told you an hour ago, I don't have no regrets.
You know?
It made me who I am today. Yeah, I got a long way to go, but I've came a long way also.
And with that, having the agency, which is what we talked about, the ability to know the weight and power of your decisions, that they do lead somewhere.
Right.
You know. And once you do those things, you become like you're not just out here willy nilly. You know, you understand
Absolutely.
that your actions have consequences, not just the big actions that can land us here or there, but they're these subtle, either staying on a direction or going a different direction, and those things add up. I like what you said earlier about everyone always, as you heard growing up and I heard growing up, that, hey, you're either going to end up, if you're in the streets, you're either going to end up dead or in jail. They normally don't tell you or you'll be an addict, because that's one of the things too. It's one of those three. I'm an addict myself. I've been 5 years sober. But I went to jail and I was an addict.
Right.
I am an addict, right? And they tell you this like it's a fact. And it's kind of I've thought about it and I was like, that's kind of fucked up that somebody looks you straight in the eyes and they're like, this is your future. If you do this thing, right? If you stay in the streets, you're going to end up dead or in jail. And they look at you with 100% certainty. And we're saying like, oh yeah, that's kind of what happened, right? What we don't hear enough is like, okay, if that side of the spectrum is such a real reality, possible reality for me, almost a certain reality, why can't the other opposite be just as true then? Why can't you look me in the eye and say, this is going to be your life. If you just do this and that, your life is going to be beautiful. It's going to be abundant, fulfilled. No, you don't hear that. Oh, you're okay, this was your life going to be. So I lean towards that side now. Like we talked earlier about leaning into the goodness that's in ourselves and in others. Like I lean into that side of the possibilities. Like, yeah, I know the bad shit's there.
Right.
But this side, like you said, you do these actions, you maintain, you keep your peace, you keep your mind, you fulfill your responsibility, but you chip away. This other side is also within the realities for you that's more than possible.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Just like this other shit they would say, oh, you do this was going to happen to you, okay? How come no one tells us, hey, you do these things, look, this is where this will lead you. Stay on this, do these things, listen to me. This will happen for you. It may not happen overnight. It may not happen 5 years, but eventually things will break your way and your work will pay off. And that's what I like to hear.
That comes from, we got a world full of haters. You know what I'm saying? And it's unfortunate. And of course, I'd rather hear positive than negative. You know what I'm saying? Of course.
You acknowledge, we have to acknowledge the negative.
Yeah, but I would much rather hear positive shit. If I tell you, yeah, in 10 years, I'm going to be flying. I want you to say, hell yeah, you're going to be flying.
Well, 10 years sounds about right. 10 years flying, like flying an airplane?
However I mean flying, I just go with me. You know what I'm saying? If you fuck with me, just go with me.
You need people like that in your life.
You know what I'm saying? All right, we're going to figure out how to make you fly. You know what I'm saying? But don't say, oh, you can't do no flying, man. You tripping up. I don't want to get the fuck away from me. I don't want to hear that shit, because we know that negative, that bullshit exists. So I don't want to hear that shit. Oh yeah, I got to go to work in the morning. I know it's getting good, but I got to go to work.
Yeah. All right, I was about to end it right now, so it's perfect.
Cool.